that's my experience with someone trying to break into my apartment. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kaylin. I live in Seoul, South Korea as a part-time English teacher, and today I thought I would do another story time video for you guys. It seems as though you enjoyed the last one, and I don't know if it's because summer is coming, but in the past month I have been approached by quite a few random people. Most experiences have been positive, like a lot of older women or girls who want to approach me because of milk, but there have been some strange guys also approaching me. So I thought, you know what, let's make another storytime video and yeah, share my experiences. Some of these are gonna be older experiences that I forgot to put in the last one, and some of these are gonna be fairly new, but we're just gonna jump right into the stories. Okay, before I even start this story, let me just say one thing. This happened years ago. I was half asleep at the time, so please don't judge me. Please don't come at me with the whole, girl, you were stupid. Why would you open the door in the middle of the night? What were you thinking? I know, I agree. I've grown as a person. I know that is the most dumbest thing I could have done, but in my defense, like I said, it was the middle of the night, I was half asleep. So essentially, this took place like a long time ago when I was a talk scholar living in Wonju. At the time, I had a 1.5 room apartment, so my bedroom was separate to the living room entryway, and it was the middle of the night and I suddenly wake up. I can hear this beeping sound, and at first it doesn't register what it is. Like I was just kind of like, whatever, ignore it, but I keep hearing it, like it keeps beeping, and that's when I realized it's someone like inputting keypad code into a keypad. If you guys aren't aware, by the way, in Korea we use keypads to get into our apartments as opposed to locks and keys because we're efficient like that. But anyway, as I said, it was this keypad code. Someone was like trying to get into an apartment, and at the time I had, I think, 4 neighbors on my floor, so I assumed it was one of my neighbors trying to get into their apartment. And this person though, they kept getting the code wrong, so I could hear them clicking the buttons and then it would make like this beep sound and the door wouldn't open. And I was just kind of like, okay, maybe like my neighbor's drunk or something, so I'm trying to ignore it. And I can hear them like kind of shuffling around outside, but like I said, I'm in my bedroom and the door was closed, so it was kind of muffled, and I'm just trying to ignore it and go back to sleep. But suddenly it gets loud. I hear this like really loud beeping sound. An alarm has gone off. Clearly the person has put in the code wrong so many times, the door is like freaking out. And I was just kind of like, what? But I don't know why I decided to get up and I opened my bedroom door just to like, I don't know, go and investigate, I guess. And so I opened my bedroom door, and that's when I realized it's not my neighbor's house, it's my house. The alarm is coming from my front door, and I was just like, oh my god, like what's going on? Like I had no idea what was happening. I was just like, why is someone at my door trying to get in at like 2 a.m. in the morning? And I'm like low-key freaking out. I'm just standing there at the front door at the time, like in shock, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. Do I call my manager? Are my neighbor's gonna like freak out and complain? Because this alarm was like fairly loud. It was just like beeping over and over again, and I don't know what came over me, but I decided maybe if I open and close the door, it would like reset the alarm and the alarm would stop. And at that time, like I couldn't hear anyone outside anymore. Like I couldn't hear any more shuffling, so I had assumed like whoever had like tried to get in ran off when the alarm gone off. So I went to the door, I opened the door, and it doesn't open nice and smoothly. No, I open it, it hits someone. Someone is standing in front of the door. And I'm just kind of like, what? And like this person who just been hit by my door like kind of stumbles back too, and that's when I realized it's some old guy, some ajushi. He looked like he was in his like late 40s, early 50s. He was wearing a business suit, and I think he was fairly drunk. Like he was kind of like stumbling, but maybe that was because I hit him with the door, I don't know. But like, yeah, like I said, we both like take a step back. He's hit by the door and I'm like kind of frozen because I was really not expecting anyone to be there. Like I said, I was half asleep. I was kind of panicking because this alarm was going off, and now there's some guy at my door, and he was kind of like, yeah, stumbling, and he was looking down, but then he like looks up and he's muttering to himself. I don't know what he's saying, but as soon as he looks at me, we make eye contact. He just like looked shook. I mean, I was already shook, but he looked real shook. Like his mouth literally dropped open, and he kind of like glances around and he's like muttering still, and he just like finally kind of like does this like awkward bow thing, and I'm like frozen still, like I have no idea what to say or do. And he just turns and starts walking down the hallway, and at this point I'm like, oh my god, and like I grab the door and I close it like really fast, and like I lock it, and luckily the beeping finally stops at that point. And I'm just like at the door listening, because I'm like, oh my god, is he gonna come back? Like what's happening? Like why was he at my door? And I'm like very quiet, and I can hear him like stumbling around for a bit, and that's when I hear it. Beep, 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 beep. Another keypad code, but this time it doesn't beep. I hear the sound of a door opening. It was a neighbor of mine, I suppose, and he clearly in his drunken state had come to the wrong door, and I was just like so like relieved, but at the same time I was like, what the hell just happened? Like looking back, I'm like glad like that's all that happened, because who knows, what if it was like some crazy person like just trying to get into the apartment. But yeah, it was just like, I don't even know what to say honestly. It was just like very nerve-wracking, because like I said, I was not expecting anyone to be there. And again, I know, don't come at me at the comments, I was stupid, I was half asleep, I should never have opened the door, but I did, okay. And luckily for me it ended well, and luckily for him, he ended up getting home safely too. But that's my experience with someone trying to break into my apartment. This story was probably the most strange out of all of them. If you guys aren't aware, I have a dog, his name is Milk, he's a Pomeranian, he's very popular. Every time we go outside, people approach us, they want to talk to him, they want to talk to me, they want to play with him, and you know, pat him, and it's good. 99% of the time, it's fine, it's like super friendly, super chill, but the other 1% of the time, it ain't chill. It's kind of creepy. So this of course is at 1% of the time, but I was taking Milk out for our daily walk. We were having a good time. He's sniffing at some bush, and out of the corner of my eye I can see these two ajushis approaching us, and you know when they're gonna come and try to engage with you. You can just tell like by the way they're walking and the way they're looking. And like I said, there's two of them. They come over. One of them, he stops and he stands like next to me, doesn't look at me, doesn't acknowledge me. He's watching the other guy, who continues to walk over to where Milk is. And Milk of course sees them, so he gets very excited. He's like jumping up and down, he's like trying to get pats. And this second ajushi, he like pounces at Milk, like he is in love with Milk. He's like touching him, like trying to kiss him, and just like, I don't know if he was talking to Milk or himself, to be honest, but he's like mumbling. And I'm just like stand back watching the other guy next to me. We're just like watching them, because you know, I just want to make sure Milk's fine and all that. And like this guy though, I noticed he was being very handsy. Like that's the best way I can describe it. He was just very like touchy with Milk, like very grabby, and like he kept trying to like, I don't know if he was like picking him up or what he was trying to do, but he kept trying to like just grab him from underneath. And Milk was kind of like getting like weird about it, because I don't think Milk liked him trying to like touch him like that. But he seemed to be like, yeah, trying to grab Milk and trying to like pull him towards him. And Milk wasn't having it. Milk would like kind of like shuffle away. And at this point the guy gets up and he turns around to where me and I guess his friend is, and he walks over to me, and I thought he was gonna like say something or like, I don't know, talk to me or ask me about Milk, but no, he just goes straight to my hand, because in my hand I'm holding Milk's leash, and he grabs it and tries to yank it. And I don't mean like gently, like I know, to be like, oh, can I like walk your dog, whatever. I mean he tries to like pull it from my hand like as hard as he can, and I'm just like holding it on like as hard as I can, and I'm like, what are you doing? And like he can see like that I'm not letting go, that I'm like really holding it, because I'm just like, what is this guy trying to do? And so he turns back around and he goes to Milk again, and this time he's really trying to pull Milk like towards him and like try to pick Milk up, and Milk's like freaking out at this point, like he doesn't like it. And I'm like feeling like freaked out. I'm like, what is this guy trying to do? Why is he trying to grab Milk and pick him up? And at this point, like other people have been walking by, and like I'm kind of saying like, don't do that, like stop. And so some people were kind of like looking, like they had stopped and they were looking. And that's when finally the guy next to me, like he acknowledges like me and the situation. He looks at me and he looks at his friend. He walks over, he like puts his hand on his friend's shoulder, and he kind of like yanks him up, and he's like talking to his friend, and like the friend's still trying to like grab at Milk, but Milk's like on the floor at this point, and this guy's standing up, and he's just like, yeah, starts yanking his friend, like he's like, I don't know, I guess telling him like, let's go, like we have to go. And like I'm just like, what are you doing? Like why is your friend like acting like this? And the guy who like you know, try to stop him, like his friend, he just looks at me again and he's just like does this like bow thing to like I guess apologize, and they walk away with this guy like still trying to I think he was trying to tell his friend like I want milk, like I want to take the dog, but like the friend was like no, and I'm just like what? Like I said, people were watching. I was feeling very scared. I was like, oh my god, like was milk even like okay? Like was milk just like almost taken? If you guys aren't aware, in Korea we have these really strange churches that essentially are cults, and they would try to scam foreigners. Usually I'm super good about like ignoring these people. It's like usually a guy or a girl, they're alone, they'll come up to you and be like I need help, or they'll ask you like some really basic questions, but they end up trying to ask you to like follow them somewhere, which usually ends up being their strange cult. But this time I was taken off guard because it wasn't a Korean person approaching me, it was a foreign girl. She was working for these really weird church cults. I don't know how she got involved with this, I didn't ask, but essentially I was in Cox Mall with my friend, we had been shopping, it was super chill, and I was just looking at some skincare and I noticed someone came up next to me and they were like hi, and I kind of look and it's a foreign girl, and I was just like oh hi, how's it going? And she was like oh yeah, I'm just like here for some shopping, and I was like oh yeah, me too, and you know, I thought maybe she was lonely, and like I said, it was a foreigner, so I was like okay, it's fine, let's engage. And so she's just like kind of talking to me, like asking me what I'm doing and stuff, and I noticed behind her there's someone else, like a Korean girl. I don't know if she was like Korean or Korean American, but this Korean girl was like kind of behind her, like watching us. And as I said, I was with my friend and she was like kind of like not engaging. Like my friend, she was like one of those don't even talk to strangers type of people, so she was kind of like stepped back also, and so it's just me and the foreign girl talking. And yeah, she's asking me some questions, and suddenly she was like oh, I noticed you're very tall, do you like model here? And I was like huh, I wish, no, I'm not a model, I'm like too old and stuff, not good looking enough. And she's like oh no, like I think you could be a model if you tried, would you be interested? And of course I felt very flattered, so I was like oh, like what type of modeling work do you have to offer? And she was like oh, actually like I think if you came to my church we could discuss it there. And I was kind of like hold up, what do you mean by your church? And she's like yeah, like my church, we're looking for models, like I think though if you came to the church and joined in we could give you some more information, would you be interested in coming? You know, we'll take some photos, it'll be really nice, like we can get some modeling work for you. And I'm just standing there like church though, like what do you mean church? And I'm like really nervous at this point, and I'm like because as soon as she said church, I knew like it was really off, like it's definitely one of these weird cult things. But again, I'm too nice, so I didn't know how to get out of it. But luckily for me, as I mentioned, my friend was next to me, and as I said, she's a very big no stranger type of thing. So she finally steps up and like literally she just looks at this girl and she's like, she's not interested in your church, can you go away, we don't care. And the girl, like her face was like so shook, even I was shook. I was like whoa girl, you go for it. And this girl's just like oh okay then, and like her and the other girl, like the Korean girl she was with, they just like walk away. And my friend just looks at me, she's like are you stupid, you know that's a cult right, they're trying to scam you, why would you like talk to them even? And I'm just like sorry, I know, like I know I shouldn't talk to these people, but like I said in my other video, I'm too nice, I don't know how to say no. But that was my experience with a weird church. I just couldn't believe a foreigner though was like working for them, recruiting for them. I was like shook, like girl, what are you doing? Don't work for these churches. Okay guys, that is it for today's storytime video. I am like, my mind is numb, my throat hurts, I don't think I can keep talking. I have a few more stories, but let's save those for another time. If you are interested, leave a comment down below and let me know which story was your favorite. And again, let me just say, please don't judge me for my reactions in these stories. I know, of course, you will tell me like, oh, why didn't you say no? Why didn't you just walk away? That is, of course, the correct thing to do. But when you're on the spot like this, like in person, it's more difficult to like say no or just walk away. Especially, I don't know, I feel like I'm nice, so I really just can't like be like, no, like go away. And I know I should like grow a backbone, and I assure you I do. When the situation does call for it, I do have a backbone, but in these cases I don't know what I was thinking. But if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.